They said you can't turn a hoe into a housewife,
Well, we've proven them wrong.
but
We're still keeping it nasty.
This is the Host to Housewives podcast.
Welcome back to Host to Housewives. I'm Keenan.
I'm Katie.
And this is episode 6. Yay. Okay, so we actually got a listener request. So we're going to be discussing a topic today that we've been asked to cover. Okay. Katie's going to read what she wrote to us about.
All right, so she said, "Hey ladies, I truly love your podcast and look forward to it weekly now. Love you. I wanted to maybe suggest a topic of how to keep your intimacy and love life going when you're both exhausted from work and kids and life in general." She says, "It's definitely a struggle. It's not that the desire and want is not there, okay, but I'm depleted on all levels and feel bad because his love language is physical touch. And sometimes, with the little one being all over me, I'm just overtouched, overstimulated, and don't want to be touched anymore."
Sure. That makes absolute sense.
So I don't have kids, so I don't know what it's like to be overtouched, overstimulated. Got you. Overtouched.
Yeah. Obviously, it's been a minute since I've had little kids. And when JJ and I got together, I think that Gage was 4, almost 5. And so even though he was still like a mama's boy and still loved to cuddle and all those things, it wasn't as much as whenever he was younger.
Right.
So, but even though JJ and I weren't together, I was in a relationship with Gage's father when he was younger, and that was obviously an issue. I think as women, we're constantly being tugged on, especially when you have children and you feel like you're being pulled in a million different directions. So the thought of someone else touching you at the end of the day really can kind of throw you off and feel like too much.
Okay.
So with that being said, even though I wasn't able to really practice this when Gage was little, throughout my marriage with JJ, I've had anxiety and things like that. Just maybe it was work related. He traveled when we first got together. So he would leave Sunday afternoon, drive 5 hours, come home every Friday and not get home till like 10. And we were both exhausted.
Yeah.
And it really took a toll on our sex life.
Yeah.
And that's really hard when you've had an amazing sex life up until that point, especially when you're in the honeymoon phase. So some of the things that we actually do now, or we actually started implementing a few years ago while I was still working, was scheduling sex.
Okay.
And I know we've probably mentioned this before because I think we talked about it last week, and I know that sounds kind of awful to be like, oh, you're scheduling sex, but I kind of look at it the same way that I look at a baby.
Okay.
Like sleep promotes sleep. So once you get your baby in a really good sleep cycle, they have a tendency to sleep more and sleep better. So by scheduling it and making an agreement that we were not going to go longer than one day in between having sex, and like that was our commitment to each other, it really helped us get our groove back. And so we would make sure that everything was taken care of. Like, we know today is the day we're having sex.
Okay.
Like, it's Tuesday.
Okay.
It's our day to have sex. So I would make sure that all the things that weighed me down and clouded my brain, like that didn't allow me to relax or like be in the headspace to have sex, I made sure that all of those things were completed prior.
Okay.
So
you just like
is clean,
busted your ass all day.
Busted my ass all day, or even the day before, to make sure that all the things that normally distract me wouldn't distract me. And so I would make sure the house was clean, the dishes were done, laundry's done, our bedroom was clean, fresh sheets, everything is nice and wonderful and cozy and like set the tone.
The tone. Yeah. You wanted it to be like intimate as soon as like it's Tuesday.
Right. we know that we're having sex today. So the flirtatious text all day, even though we do that on a regular basis, we would make sure that we upped it a little bit that day to really kind of set the chemistry and get all of that in motion. And
like the anticipation.
You're
just
right?
Getting worked up, just waiting.
Yeah. And I always would make sure that I've rinsed off because I like to be clean, just that person. And so I would just make sure that like I felt really good that day.
Yeah.
Like my hair is fixed, my makeup is done. Like I feel really good about me. So I'm feeling in that headspace, like I feel sexy, right? So like I'm already gearing myself up.
But what would you do with the kids?
So obviously, if you have younger kids, bedtime would be earlier that day, and I would prep the kids for that. And obviously, like my older two, it didn't really matter. But like for the younger one, I'd be like, okay, so tonight you're going to go to bed a little bit earlier than usual. You need to get a little extra sleep. Or even if they were a little bit older, lay in bed for a little bit longer. You can have some screen time, watch a movie, whatever. And just make sure that everything was taken care of.
Okay.
And sometimes we would know like it's going to be a chaotic day. And so we would have sex early. Like we know we're exhausted. So like you're going to watch a movie in your room. Only come get me if you're bleeding. And then really just knock it out of the park like as soon as we could, because it really reconnected us for the rest of the night. And it took a lot of pressure off of us.
Yeah.
Because if you're exhausted and you don't get your kids to bed until 8 or 9 o'clock after dinner, after all the things, then by the time you've done everything that you need to do, it's 10 or 11 and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I'm exhausted.
I can't do this.
I can't do this. Yeah. So we started having sex earlier. And what helped me was being the initiator. Because if you're overstimulated, if you are tired of being tugged on and it's not your idea, it can cause your brain to want to push away.
Okay.
So I knew that about myself. So I would be the initiator. I would make sure that I smelled good, my hair was done, like I did all the things that I needed to do to feel sexy, pick out my cute little outfit and be like, hey, let's knock this out of the park. Because when he's a dude, he don't need to do anything. Yeah. He just shows up and, you take care of the rest. You're ready to go. And so being the initiator really changed our sex life.
Okay. So initiate yourself.
Mm-hmm. As the woman.
As the woman, initiate.
Yeah.
Prep yourself. Mm-hmm. Put the kids to bed early.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and you've said this to me often. Mm-hmm. When we have kids, you're going to be like, give me that baby.
That's right.
Go have sex with your husband.
Literally. Please have sex with your husband. Okay. Like,
so like,
focus on your marriage.
If I have young kids, I'm going to send them to grandma's. I'm going to send them to Auntie Kiki's. Mm-hmm. I'm going to send them somewhere. Yeah. And if I can, I'm going to rent a hotel room.
Absolutely.
I'm going to make it special, at least for the first few times. Yeah. Until you get in a routine of scheduling it.
Yeah.
Right. So like my advice would be, like you said, get yourself ready.
Yeah.
Feel good about yourself. Send the kids away if you can. Rent a hotel room, make it special, and then continue to do that in less extravagant ways.
Of course.
Until it becomes natural again.
Sure. Yeah? I mean, there used to be this like little meme that floated around or whatever for a while, and it was like, you always need to marry the person that you're down to fuck in the laundry room while the dino nuggets are cooking. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, it's not always going to be perfect. Like, you're not always going to be able to set this romantic scene, because for women, it's here. Men, they don't care if the dishes are dirty, if you're bloated, you haven't shaved. Like, they don't care about any of that. I've never known a man to really, truly care who actually liked women. So.
Okay, but so it's all up here, right?
Yeah.
But if you're mentally drained as a woman.
Yeah, and we are.
If you're mentally drained, how are you going to overcome that hump of mental fatigue to get in the mindset to want to even have sex?
Okay, but think about it like this. and it's controversial, right? Because a lot of people out there truly believe that, okay, well, you had kids, they absolutely have to come first.
Right.
And I'm not a believer in that. Don't get me wrong, when I was a single parent, I always prioritized my kids first. But then once I had a true partner, my husband, our marriage has to take precedence over most everything because we're the foundation of our family.
Mm-hmm.
So, and whether you're religious or not, that's neither here nor there. But for us, it's God, marriage, kids, and then everybody else.
Yeah.
And I'll talk about that a lot. But you have to understand that that connection with your husband or your spouse, whatever, wife, whatever, needs to be such a top priority. And this isn't a healthy marriage. It has to be such a top priority because if that foundation cracks, everything else is going to fall apart.
So are we
and
saying
sex is important in a marriage?
Yeah.
Super important.
So important.
So important.
So are we saying suck it up?
Literally. I hated my job. I was in sales. And this was before I was like upper corporate. I was just a regular salesperson, like busting my ass every day, trying to meet numbers in the heat, in 6-inch heels, throughout a hospital, literally hating life. And I knew that he had to be a priority. And by scheduling it and saying, okay, we're not going to go longer than a whole day, like every other day is our schedule right now. That was so important that no matter how I felt at the end of the day, like I had to overcome whatever was mentally weighing me down because I had to make sure that I prioritized my relationship with my husband.
Okay. I honestly, I love that because I think about like, get a little nasty here. Even if you don't want to, and we're saying like, you may not want to, you may be tired, whatever, suck it up.
Yeah.
Because realistically, for most of us, realistically for me, if I'm not in the mood, I'm tired, I've been doing something, whatever, I just want to go to bed. When I get into it,
oh yeah,
I'm not going to want to stop.
Exactly.
It's just the hump of getting into it.
It's the hump. Yeah, getting over that mental block, that mental barricade that says, "Hey, no, like I'm too tired to do this."
Yeah.
Getting over that initial hurdle, like once you are engaged with your husband, your wife, and you guys are being intimate with each other,
Yeah.
it will promote you to keep going.
Yeah, because I crave that intimacy.
Exactly.
My head may be like, no, bitch, we're tired. You've been on the lake all day. You're gross. You went to the gym, whatever.
Right.
And that's trying to tell me no.
Right.
But once you're in it, I'm like, I want to do this all the time. I don't want to stop.
Exactly. And the more you do it, the more you do it. But it used to not be that way.
Yeah.
Because sex felt like one more job that I had to do before I could finally go to sleep and turn off my brain.
Yeah.
And I was being selfish because he needed me and he needed to feel connected to me. And when you're apart during the day, whether you're a stay-at-home mom and he's at work or you're both out getting that bread, like whatever the situation is, you're apart during the day.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to come back together at the end of the day and be a married couple. And I know it's hard and I know it sucks sometimes because you're just completely spent.
Yeah.
But if you don't prioritize that time with your spouse, you'll lose that connection and your marriage can start to get rocky and fall apart. And when there start to be cracks in your foundation, that's when other things seep in.
Yeah.
And you have to make sure that you don't allow that to happen. And so, yeah, sometimes you just have to suck it up, get over that mental hurdle, and say, I'm about to rock your world.
Yeah.
Like, and I've heard women say this, and I think a lot of men need to understand this about women. We don't always have to have an orgasm to enjoy sex.
For sure.
For sure. Like sometimes, no matter what you do,
it ain't gonna happen.
It's not happening. Okay.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. And sometimes you're just taking care of your partner.
Yes.
It's different for men. They get blue balls, they get whatever you want to call it, whatever that term is nowadays. There's probably a whole new term that like Gen X or whatever or millennials have created that I don't even know about yet, right? Because I'm not in
I'm
the
a
know.
millennial.
Okay, is there a word for blue balls that we don't know about yet?
No, but I'm just saying it's not millennial is me and
okay.
you.
Oh, am I a millennial?
You're an elder millennial.
Oh, are you going to throw elder in there? At least you're not saying geriatric.
We could go with
like
that too.
Like my eggs.
Same,
my eggs are geriatric.
Same thing. But okay, so get over it.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling to get over it in the moment, like you said, prepare the day of. Exactly. So we're talking like sending spicy texts.
I love a spicy text.
Right. We're talking.
And not the funny ones that our husbands think that you and I enjoy. And I'm like, why'd you send me this? Like, what are you doing? Okay. Then you open your phone, you're like, oh my God.
Maybe like pick out an outfit, take the time to pick out an outfit.
They don't have to do anything crazy. Like my husband just loves a cute pair of booty shorts and a crop top.
Just something that makes you feel good.
Yeah. Because, and everybody's is different.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's just something that's going to help you to feel better about yourself. Yeah. Want you to be in the mood. I was listening to this Bible study about intimacy. Because I'm always trying to improve my intimacy. Yeah. And he talked about anticipation. Okay. About sending the flirty text before you get home, setting up the bedroom so that it's, and it was really funny. He was like, he talked about scheduling sex, right? Yeah. Because like you said, sex leads to sex. Exactly. Or whatever you said.
Sex promotes sex.
Sex promotes sex.
Yeah. You do it more, you do it more.
And so he said, he was like, they were scheduling it. He said he brought in like charcuterie and wine and set it on the bed, went to go lock the door, got so excited, he ran and launched himself onto the bed.
Forgot that he put everything on there.
See,
and I couldn't even be mad. I'd be like, it just is what it is.
And he was so embarrassed. And his wife was like, I didn't come here for the charcuterie. Yeah. I'm not worried about it. Yeah. And he was like, he said that he was so excited, he just completely lost his mind because he had built up the anticipation all day. He goes to lock the door. He's like, it's time.
And then he just bolts to the bed. He's like, shit, I forgot that I put everything on this bed.
And she said, and then he said, but the sweetest thing she could have said was, I didn't come here for the charcuterie. I came here for you.
Came here for that dick.
That dick.
That's what she came
this
for.
This is what we're here for.
That's what she came for.
So, it's just like, those are the things, the ways that if you're struggling, like make it happen, build up the anticipation, because who doesn't like anticipation?
Right. And also, communication is such a huge thing in a marriage. And obviously I'm not saying anything anybody doesn't know, but the act of actually communicating and saying, okay, if we're going to be doing this every other day, this is what I need from you when you get home so I can get ready. I need 30 minutes to soak in the bath. I need you to do XYZ for me. Mm-hmm. Whatever that looks like in your household, right?
Partnership,
right? So no matter what that looks like, however you run your house, the nights that we're having sex, I'm not cooking.
Oh, fair.
We're getting takeout.
Yeah. Make it romantic.
Yeah. Or we're having leftovers. We're going to order pizza. Mm-hmm. Like whatever. Not every meal has to be home cooked and gourmet. Like you can do whatever works best for you. But like get into that habit of communicating what you need and how you need it done in order to get to where you need to be. Mm-hmm. So you guys can be in the headspace to reconnect.
I love that.
And it's, like I said, every household is different. Every marriage is different. But life is never going to stop, no matter what. We don't have young kids anymore, but we have businesses that require us to baby them, to be available 24/7, all the things, right? So life doesn't stop. But your marriage, your partner, whether you're married or not, if you're in a committed relationship, having that intimacy, it's only going to improve your marriage, your communication, your everything. And so you have to make sure that you prioritize it, and however that looks for you. But sometimes you just got to suck it up. And I don't mean that in an aggressive way, like in an unhealthy way. I just mean that in the sense that you have to figure out a way to get over that mental hurdle. And I did. Honestly, I had to.
I wish that someone had told me that a few years ago.
Yeah.
Because I mean, everybody goes through it. You're tired.
Yeah.
Mentally you're not there. You're missing
Mm-hmm.
something in your connection.
Right.
And then you push sex out of the way and it just distances your connection.
Right.
So I do wish that someone had told me
Mm-hmm.
a few years ago, like, suck it up.
Yeah.
Just fuck your husband.
Literally.
Like,
or blow him. I don't care what you do.
but you got to be intimate.
But intimacy is such an important factor in marriage that when we were going through that really rough patch, and we don't talk about divorce, like we said that early on, like we're not going to joke about it. We don't play fight. We don't play joke about divorce. Like there's certain things that we don't do. But the strain was so much on both of us that, I mean, our marriage was falling apart.
Yeah.
And we hadn't even been married that long, but we hadn't quite learned how to fully communicate with each other. Because, and I say met, but we've known each other since we were kids, but we met and married within 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And we only saw each other every other weekend. And so for 3, maybe 4 days. So you're talking like we spent physical time together was minimal.
Mm-hmm.
And so we hadn't been through rough patches. We hadn't had to figure out how to communicate in spaces that we hadn't been in before because neither one of us had been married. We had kids, but neither one of us had been married. And so it took us a while. And now, like, once I started being the initiator, and because I had been in relationships before where touch and sex wasn't always nice, like being the initiator and taking control, I'm a control freak. Everybody knows it. It's totally fine. Like once I started taking control of the situation and I felt so powerful that I loved turning him on and being the person that did it. And so it was my goal pretty much every day to figure out a new way. And then it became a game. It became fun. It became not a job anymore. It became sensual and pleasurable and fun. So you have to just understand that sometimes it's just about connection, whether it's perfect or not. Because if you're away from each other all day, like you have to be able to come together at the end of the night and be a married couple.
Yeah.
Because your kids are going to leave you.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. They're going to
grow up, move away,
get their own life, and then you're going to be left with just you and your spouse. And you're like, well, what do we do now?
Right.
Like, we don't even know each other anymore because we've been focused on kids for the past 18 years. And I didn't want that. I did not want to have to play catch up. So our kids know, and we've taught them as well, when you're in a relationship, your partner has to come first. And, my oldest son is the only one that's in a relationship right now. And he's very much attentive and, that's what I'm looking for. He's very much puts her first. He prioritizes her. Yeah.
Their relationship.
And so, because they're supposed to be your best friend and your person, and you have to make sure that you keep that connection going and not have big, long gaps.
Yeah.
Because then it's harder to get back together.
Yeah. That's the other key is like, if you have gone so long, which obviously postpartum, pregnancy, postpartum,
Sure.
breastfeeding, like you're gonna
right.
have those issues.
And I'm not talking about those special instances or those things when you are postpartum and you have to wait 6 weeks and things like that, because that is important.
Yeah.
But there's other ways to be intimate that, and I'm not talking about a selfish man, who is like all about me, because they're out there. And there are selfish women too. So I'm not trying to say that it's one way or the other, but I'm not talking about those situations where you're immediately postpartum and you have to wait.
We're talking about
in the thick of it, everything is, all the kids are birthed.
Right. All the kids are birthed.
Yeah.
But like in those moments where, in those times, right, and you're not having sex,
right,
that should be the only time in your marriage, in your healthy marriage, right?
Yeah.
Because if somebody's cheating, you ain't having sex. If somebody's beating you, you ain't having sex.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
But
we say all of this with that being the mindset that you're in a healthy relationship.
But those times should be the only time where you're going long spans.
Right.
Because otherwise, like, like I said, the connection becomes a little bit severed. And the longer you go,
the further and further and further
how are you
apart
going
you
to put it
get.
back together?
Yeah, that crack, that divide gets bigger.
And then you're constantly working on it again.
Yeah.
Fighting the mental hurdle.
And then you only get so far before the gap starts to happen again.
Mm-hmm.
So keeping it at the forefront of your mind that it's a very important thing. And the connection between you and your partner is supposed to be strong.
Yeah.
And it is supposed to be intimate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, JJ and I have inside jokes and things that we talk about that we don't talk about with anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And so making sure that you keep that at the forefront is, I mean, it's a huge deal.
So we're talking prioritize your marriage.
Absolutely.
We're
and
talking
yourself.
Set anticipation,
Mm-hmm.
flirty texts, pictures, all that.
Yeah.
We're talking scheduling. We're talking communication.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all the ways that you're going to get the intimacy back in your marriage.
Absolutely.
Those 5 key things.
Yeah. We have some friends and they have 2 young children, and we were talking not too long ago. I think we were out on the boat, and they said that, you know, because I'm always so shocked when people put their kids to bed so early. I'm like, 7? It's not even dark outside. And they said 7 to bedtime, and then 5 to 7 in the morning when they wake up is when they get their time alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so they make their kids go to bed early.
Mm-hmm.
That way they can have those 3 or 4 hours where it's just them.
Yeah.
So they adjust everything around that. Dinner is earlier,
Mm-hmm.
baths are earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, you know, because I've been so far removed from it for so long, because my youngest is 14, I always find it, I was like, oh, that's so early. And then when she explained it to me, I was like, that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you have young children, you know, they don't know any different. My bedtime's 7 o'clock. Okay, I go to bed at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you may lay there or whatever, but that's mom and dad time.
Yeah.
You know? And
they do. They prioritize.
And they prioritize
and communicate.
that and communicate. And I love that for them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, sometimes that's just what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to make some adjustments so you can prioritize your marriage. Because having small children is just a season.
Okay.
It's just a season.
It's just a season
that you got to get through.
And I
mean, granted, if you keep popping out kid after kid after kid, that season's going to continue to get longer and longer and longer. But if you're talking, you know, you have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old, like soon that 2-year-old is going to, you know, reach a point where it doesn't need you quite as much anymore, more self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And so it's just a season.
So it's not fuck them kids.
No.
It's fuck them kids for an hour.
Exactly. Like those kids are going to be okay.
So you think that kids will adjust?
Yeah.
Like if you set the tone now.
Sure.
And you are like, hey, just you got to go to bed, baby. Mommy's, you know, you got to wake up early. I'm going to be up early, and then you don't actually wake them up early.
Yeah.
But you've got to
set the tone.
and put your kids behind your marriage.
Absolutely. And it's not neglectful.
Right.
We're not talking about neglect.
I'm
not talking about locking your kid in the closet and going to the club. Okay. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about prioritizing your marriage and making sure that everything else that takes up space in your life comes second and is handled so you can prioritize it. And your kids aren't going to know any different. In my opinion, that means that you're teaching your kids that once they get married, their spouse is the most important person.
Yeah.
Like, and this is just an example. You have some mother-in-laws or mothers that are like, no, I'm number one in his life. I didn't raise my boys to be that way.
No, you didn't.
I don't want to be number one in your life forever. I've got my number one, and that's my husband, and I'm his number one. And yes, y'all are our children, and we love you so much, but you're going to go out and build your own life. So being independent of us and learning either how to self-soothe or how to play alone or to entertain yourself, you know, with whatever, like it's important because then they're not relying on somebody else to give them attention all the time.
You're making them self-sufficient.
Yeah. They have to be
independent.
They have to be. They have to learn to be independent. And I'm not saying neglect your kids.
No.
But having a healthy marriage and a healthy relationship, whether you're divorced and you're, your blended family, however the situation is, they need to see a healthy marriage.
Yeah.
And a healthy marriage and relationship is prioritizing your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And your children are not going to know any different. And when you're raising them to, be good partners.
Yeah.
Because not all kids want to have kids of their own. Like, I don't know if my kids want to have kids. They're not at that age yet.
Right.
But
you want them to love their partners. You want to give them something to model.
Exactly. I'm not saying you're going to have kids. That's up to you. But being a good partner, whether you have kids or not, it's such a vital thing for especially boys to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like women, I feel like, especially my generation, like we grew up being told like to be polite and to be accommodating,
mm-hmm.
and don't take up too much space, and to do this and to do that, and not be a handful or whatever. And boys were taught a little bit different, right? Like, oh, you're the man, and you don't cry, you don't have feelings. I didn't want that for my kids. And so, I wanted them to understand women from a different perspective, not from what they're going to see out when they're out roaming around in the world with a bunch of people that don't even know how to treat another person respectfully. So, teaching your children that you covet your relationship and that it's important to you, you're giving that to them. That's a gift.
Yeah.
And, that's something they get to take on, for the rest of their life. There's nothing better for a kid to see a healthy relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be between the two parents that made that child.
Right.
Because every relationship is different. And, Gage and me and his dad, we didn't have a good relationship. We are so much better apart, but we're great parents to Gage.
Mm-hmm.
And we both are now in healthy, happy marriages. So Gage gets to see two different dynamics, but both happy and healthy. And, that's the best gift we can give them, in my opinion.
I love it.
So don't feel bad about telling your kids to go to bed and then spending a few hours with your spouse.
Yeah.
Because they won't know any different.
They won't know any different.
Yeah. So with all that being said, all of that you kind of took away from that, what would you say would be your tip of the week?
Fuck them kids.
Right.
No, I'm just kidding. Not neglect your kids. Not fuck your kids.
Neglectful way.
But put your spouse as number one.
Yeah.
In your life. Put your marriage as number one, and because like you said, it's the foundation.
It is.
And all of everything else is going to be built on it. And if you two are not connected, it's like the electricity, it's out.
Right.
How are you going to survive?
Everything can fall apart. Yeah. And so, and I see a lot of stuff on TikTok and things like that, like little videos. And it's so funny to me how divided things are, right? About prioritizing your partner over your kids.
Or your parents.
Oh,
have you seen that one?
Oh, I've seen the one where a guy is interviewing a bunch of guys and he said, okay, rank the importance of these three people: your mother, your wife, and your children. And the ones that say their mother first, I'm like, she failed you. She fucking failed you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're just fucked.
You're just fucked.
You're never going to have a good relationship for the rest of your life, because if you can't prioritize your partner, like, you're just fucked, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, your mom failed you.
That always makes me crazy. It's like, do you not like your wife?
Right. And I know that because divorce is so prominent, that they think, well, the likelihood of us getting a divorce is this much, right?
Why are you even thinking that?
Exactly. But the other thing is, if you prioritize your spouse, the chances of you getting a divorce are very slim.
Yeah.
Granted, there's a whole bunch of other things that go into play with that. But if you prioritize your spouse, then your chances of divorce are going to be drastically reduced.
Mm-hmm.
So going into it thinking, well, I'm probably going to end up getting divorced anyway, so I got to keep my mom at the forefront, then my kid, then my wife. Baby, don't even get married. Don't even get married. And some of these men already were. So, like, just go ahead and sign those divorce papers, because If I saw my husband say that, baby, oh man,
trouble.
You're in trouble. Yeah, like what the fuck?
So to wrap it all back up, to keep the intimacy in your marriage, to
Yeah.
reignite the spark, we need to schedule.
If you have to, yeah.
We need to build anticipation.
Mm-hmm.
We need to over communicate our needs. We
Absolutely.
need to put our spouse first and our children second.
Yeah.
And we need to do it and do it more.
Literally. Do it and do it more.
Do it again, do it again.
Isn't that
and
like
do it
LL
again.
Cool J, like doing it and doing it and
Doing
doing
it
it well.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, if that's all you take away from it today, then just have a lot of sex.
Doing it and doing it and doing
Yeah,
it.
because
well.
now that JJ and I, have overcome all those things, like we are intimate almost daily at this point. Granted, we don't have small children, but we're intimate pretty much daily at this point. And I mean, I look forward to that time. I look forward to being with him and experiencing that with him and being close and just, having and getting mine, you know what I'm saying? So, because sometimes
intimacy promotes intimacy,
yes,
baby.
and sometimes it's just like all the stress melts away, So Lord knows in this economy, everybody needs a stress reliever. And what's better than an orgasm, in my opinion?
So suck it up and get your orgasm.
That's right. Just get it.
Just get it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. We had a great time talking about sex as usual. And we will see you guys next week.
Bye.